All right, we're going to create the conceptual mass tower here. And the first thing we need to do is open up a blank conceptual mass family. So I'm going to come over here to Family and New. And I'm going to go to English Imperial. I'm in my Revit 2022 family templates. In case it didn't navigate you to that, that's where you need to be. And I'm going to use English Imperial and go to Conceptual Mass. And I'm going to open up the mass RFT. It's going to open up a blank file. I have a ground plane of level 1 and 2 vertical planes, left, right, and front, back. I'm going to quickly change the background here, going to graphic display options from my view control bar, going to background and changing that to none to give me a plain white background. It's a little easier to see. All right, so this twist tower, the height of it is driven by a vertical line. So basically what we're going to be doing, the order of operations is we're going to host something like a piece of geometry, then we're going to host another piece of geometry and another piece of geometry to that and build up this hierarchy. So think of like animation rigging, like the rigging of an animation figure, but we're actually animating a sort of mass of a building. So the first thing I want is a vertical line to control the height. So I'm going to go into my south elevation. So I'm looking straight at one of the planes, and I'm going to draw a reference line, a vertical reference line from this intersection straight up. So I'm going to go to Reference and Line, and it's going to automatically host. So the first thing you want to note when you're drawing in Revit is what is it hosting to? So you can see it's highlighting this plane, right? And you can also see placement plane here. It's telling me that it's going to do the center, front, back. So that's where it's drawing. So I'm just going to come down here and left click, and it also has a little blue alignment which corresponds with the other reference plane, so you can't really see it, but just go straight up vertically. Doesn't matter how tall, somewhere in here, and left click. Now Revit wants to continue to chain that because chaining is selected up here. So if I hit escape once, it'll stop the chain and I can actually start another line. If I hit escape again, it cancels me completely out of that command, and now I'm not in a command. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and tile my windows so we can see in 3D and 2D at the same time. And so I have two tabs open here. I'm just going to type in WT for window tile, and then ZA for zoom all. So now I have both of these up so you can kind of see what's happening in both of these. What I want to do now is I want to put a parameter on this to control the height. So I'm going to pick this line, and when I pick it, it gives me what's called a listening dimension. This little dimension right here. And you can actually change the height of it with this, but what I want to do is assign a parameter to that so I can control the height. And what I need to assign a parameter is a permanent dimension. So if I click off of this, the dimension goes away. It's temporary. So to make it permanent, I'm going to left click on this little dimension icon, and it makes it permanent. So now when I click off of it, it's still there, which means I can select it as an individual piece and assign a parameter to it up here under the label. So I'm just going to go to Create Parameter, and it's going to bring out my Parameter Properties dialog box. And it's categorized it based on the fact that I picked a dimension, and I just need to name it at this point. So I'm just going to give it a short name, H for height, and click OK. And then what I'm going to do is give you an example of what we're going to continue to do throughout the process, which is to make different types. So once we have a parameter, what we can do is we can come up to our Family Types dialog box up here, and you see that it shows up as a parameter once we've created it. I can change the height of this, right, and just hit apply. And so now I kind of have an open command string. But what I want to do is set like 3 different states, and those in Revit are called types. So up here you'll see type name, and we don't have one because we haven't created any types yet. We just have sort of this one base. And so right here is a create new type. And I'm going to click on that, and it's going to bring out the name, your type, and I'm just going to name this one 70 feet. And click OK. And so now I have one type called 70 feet. I'm going to create a new type, and I'll call it 50 feet. And click OK, and then I'll change the height to 50 feet. Hit apply, and then I'll do another one, and I'll make this one 90 feet. Okay, and change that to 90 feet. and apply, right? And so now I have these three types, and I can just pick them and apply them. We only have one parameter, but we're going to have a whole series of them. And so what these types do is allow you to save states of those parameters and quickly update them. So that's what we're going to be doing throughout the rest of the series.